What is going on, guys? We are back for another DSP video, and today we're looking at the interview DSP had with Craig. We are looking at the finale of him reacting to the June the King documentary. Apparently Ethan Ralph is now going after DSP. But first we have these stories. So for a couple of days, DSP kept showing these screenshots of a WWE Champions username. First it was down, then it was from, then he did his reaction to WWE Champions section in June the King's documentary. All of a sudden he stopped doing this. He didn't acknowledge it anymore, didn't say anything, wouldn't even talk about it. Because this is when he revealed he was the account. They call me DSP. He revealed he named the account Down from the Rafters, but then sold it. He said he had no way to log in to show that it's the same account. So how did you do this, Phil? Yet days before this, he was showing off this from WWE Champions. Kinda makes you think about that, doesn't it? And speaking of Down from the Rafters, apparently not DSP just spent $1,168 at a minimum on this event. But again, that's definitely not DSP because he sold his account, which is against TOS, by the way. So this is the person that bought the account and still spending money. And you know the really funny part is, so Phil said in one of his WWE Champion streams that his main account, his good one, has been played for 7 years straight. And guess what, guys? Down from the Rafters still has a 7-year plus login streak. So you're telling me he sold this account, someone bought it off that third-party website, then kept logging in and spending money and didn't even miss 24 hours. Think about that, Phil. Think about that. And of course, DSP has been an idiot. He puts this tweet out. Hey Medicare, I want to formally extend the olive branch. This last month has been crazy, and I feel like I would be making a grave error if I did not have a conversation with you before it's too late. I hope you're feeling better and I learned to use Discord. Let's do it. Now keep in mind, Medicare has terminal cancer. Terminal cancer. And DSP uses the phrase grave error and basically says, let me interview you and make money off of you before you die from cancer. And of course, people had to respond to this so much that DSP deleted this tweet. However, he put up another tweet. Rephrasing for clarity, I would like to formally invite Medicare to a discussion when he is well and ready. Via whatever method is preferred. I've opened myself up to discussions and I now understand he wants to do one for a while. Get well soon and best wishes. First off, you said, get well soon and best wishes. So get well soon to a person that has terminal cancer. This is like what he said to Super Blind Man, you're not seeing what I'm seeing. But of course, that first tweet was not his fault. And whose fault is it? It's those dang dirty detractors, dudes. And he puts this tweet out. Well, since a ton of my detractors decided to, of course, negatively dump on my post from last night because wording, which wasn't intentional, but can definitely be seen as insensitive, I deleted the post. I'll rephrase it as to try not be offensive. Sorry for being dumb. That's right, he made the mistake, but the only reason he's going to delete that and do a new one that he says is not insensitive is because the detractors pointed it out. So you would have no problem with that tweet if nobody said anything. Think about that, Phil. Just think about that. And then Medicare does respond, but this is to June the King, where June said, I want to interview you, I want to get you on here, I want to do something about your career on video. And Medicare responds to June, sure, but I wouldn't be able to do so right away. Honestly speaking, I've had a rough month this August and barely avoided hospitalization twice. So he goes on to say that at the earliest would be like in September, so he can reschedule. And June is like, okay, yeah, sure, no problem. Take your time. Whenever you're ready, just let me know. That's how you handle stuff like this, Phil. You don't say, oh, Jim, let me interview you before you die. Make money off of you. Then DSP tried to defend himself with everything that's in June the King's documentary. And he said, at least I'm not faking cancer. And Meowblock puts this out. You're right. You're just trying to use a man dying from cancer as a way to boost your ego. I'm so glad you guys made me understand. You're right for defending him. My bad. And then we have this from That Being Said. I've not seen this entire situation broken down so beautifully before. And I believe this is a comment that's left on one of Phil's videos. Phil, you are being gassed up by bad guys. They know that you put out the best content to mock when you're riding an ego high. There are a lot of people in bad faith lying to you right now, saying they are fans. You're getting money from people that are paying for this show. You are a movie that they don't want to see end. Please see a reason. This is getting really hard to watch. The fact that you think Craig looks bad as a result of this interview is shocking. I implore you, rewatch without your pride in mind. Try to see things from his perspective. A man that was lied to, then the person lying demanded an apology because he didn't check his email. And we will get into all that, don't worry. Then we have Secret Limited, comparing DSP, the Baron Corbin from WWE. Baron Corbin, the Lone Wolf, is better than the King of Hate. Then we have Sad Corbin. That's when he lost all his money, and then in character he would beg other wrestlers for money, and everyone said, oh, this is a DSP gimmick. So Sad Corbin is better than Beg Inside Phil. Happy Corbin is better than Kino Casino's Phil. King Corbin is better than King Phil. Then we have the battle, Ethan Ralph versus DSP. You wanted in this environment, Phil. You wanted the sector. Well, it's come to you, Phil, as DSP puts this out. Dude, Ethan Ralph, a grown-ass adult, is acting just like I did in my early 20s in the FGC. I know nothing of this man, but this is some clown mode shit, lol. And Ethan replies to him, dude, you're DSP, begging for a working toilet. Sad. This is not to mention all the other grifts and frauds you pulled. It is endless. Then we have Kingman, a Ralph versus DSP arc. Why doesn't DSP go on the kill stream to share his critic of you to your face? I'm sure you'll give him a fair hearing, and he can learn some lore about the people he is currently associated with in the process. And Ethan Ralph responds with, too much of a coward, but I would love to see it. And then if that wasn't enough, Ethan Ralph puts out this tweet. I was gonna leave this effing DSP alone, but I guess he wants to smoke. Detractors, get in touch. Kino Casino has tried to whitewash his history and now thinks he's big again. Let's bring him down a few notches. Ethan Ralph tries a wrestling promo against DSP.
The King of Hate. You know what? I'm the King of Hate. Phil Labonte. Is that your name? I don't even know. I looked it up one time, but I don't care about your career. I don't care about your history on YouTube. I don't give a fuck about what you've done, except all the scams you pulled on your audience. I do care about that. Except all the, oh, beg me, please this, please give me money for this, please help my working toilet, please, oh. Nobody believes that fucking bullshit. You fucking lying sack of shit. And you want to go at me? I really think that's a mistake. But you know, only time will tell. Only time will tell, because I have dedicated myself now to taking you out fully. And, you know, you can apologize to me personally and I'll let it go, because that's the kind of guy I am. But if not, I'm going to fuck you up bad with everybody else who wants to fuck you up bad. Whether they like me or not, they don't like you. And so I would retreat now if I were you, because the things you have suffered at the hands of your detractors are minuscule compared to what the fuck I'm about to do to you.
And then June the King did the smartest thing ever. He puts this out. I'll be honest with you, man, I don't want to be in this space for very long. I'm doing a round of closing interviews, then, for the most part, keeping my distance. And that is the smartest thing to do. If you're able to get out of the vortex, get out before you're toxified like so many other people. And then right before the interview, Duty sends a message to Stutter and Craig. He shows him the video of the previous night where DSP admitted that the WWE Champions account was his. And Craig responds with, "When did this happen?" And Duty, "Last night." So now Craig is now prepared for this interview. He's got extra ammo. And now we get to the interview. And Evil AJ sums this whole thing up by saying, unironically, Craig did nothing wrong, he did everything correct. And then Phil claimed he was going to send him, Craig, a screenshot of his WWE Champions account, but there was one problem. So the previous night, DSP said he sold his account and didn't have that account for the Side Scrollers interview. And not only that, he didn't have his iPhone, which we will get into that, don't worry. And then DSP started getting aggressive with Stutter and Craig, and Craig was not having it. This was not a repeat of the Keemstar stuff. Craig stood up for himself. And then Craig, in a funny way, said, "Oh, did you do this with Keemstar? I don't watch your stuff." And Mighty D puts this out. "Stutter and Craig, you asked Phil if he went at Keem and called him out. No, he spent the entire interview apologizing and sucking him off. There was no back and forth, complete lies." Yeah, so DSP told Craig, "We went back and forth, I pressed him, I grilled him, but we hashed it out." Which is absolutely a complete lie. If you showed someone that interview, by the way they were sucking each other off, they probably think it's gay porn. Then we have this from Poem Josh. "You did have streams designed to shit on people, Phil. Many of them. Monetized. Reading donations with messages that were disrespectful to them attached. Don't hide behind the disclaimers you started last week now. You did the same thing you're accusing these people of."
You know, this is, I don't think about you a whole lot, Phil, except for when people bring you up to me. And,
Fair enough.
And you know, you're upset that people are like, you know, giving super chats because, well, maybe they enjoyed what we do, right? And I'm not gonna say, like, you know, some people were just excited to see that the interview was done. They were congratulating us for doing the interview.
They don't enjoy what you do. They enjoyed that you were bullying me. That's what it was. You were doing a whole stream, monetize the haters, and you were making money off of making fun of me, which is what everyone else does too.
Phil, why was I live? Because you were talking shit about us.
So, okay, now on my stream, was I sitting there saying, "Hey, Craig haters, come on the stream and dump on Craig, and let's accept all the donations for everyone who doesn't like Craig. Let's talk about all Craig's dirty laundry on my stream today." Did I ever do that, Craig?
So I don't know. I don't watch your stuff, but you're telling me
no. I never did that, not once. The only gripes I ever had with you was that how you behaved after the interview. That's literally it. That's the only problem I have with you. I don't have a problem with anything before or during the interview. It was the fact you left the door open for me to contact you. You ignored that line of contact. You did a harmful show. Because you know what? Now I got to talk about this publicly, all right? Are you aware that because you didn't give me the chance to defend myself after the interview, you did a bullying show where you ragged on me and I wasn't there to defend myself against any of that? Do you know how that hurt me and my viewers and my content? You probably don't.
Hold on. Let me just talk about this real quick. Europe, and by the way, this is something that I do want to talk about. You were upset that we went live and talked about this, and you were pissed that you weren't there to defend yourself.
Right.
You did a decompression show literally immediately after. You did a decompression show about Keemstar last week, and he wasn't there to defend himself. You did the exact same thing that we do, Phil.
Whoa. You just proved you don't watch my decompression shows. You just proved it. The decompression shows have nothing to do with talking about and ragging on the guest that just appeared.
So,
now keep this in mind, because every single thing he said at the end there, he's gonna do in his decompression stream about Craig. And we have Mr. Ludacris. DSP just said Craig monetized bullying. Phil literally monetized bullying RTU. Yeah, and how many super chats did Phil read out about Duty streams too, by the way? Speaking of Duty streams, wow, Phil sure misses Derek.
Things to anyone who publicly supports me, okay? And I'm not just talking like, oh, someone was in the chat and said I like Phil. I mean, they'll try to hunt these people down, find their social media, find where they live, find where they work, call them, harass them, call them pedophiles, do horrible things to them. There's been supporters documented who give me a $100 tip, and then they get hacked and stuff. It's really, really...
And then despite him shitting all over side scrollers and talking about their content being crap and all that and saying blah blah blah, DSP went on to say he has not once watched back the side scrollers interview since it happened. Then DSP went on to say that the side scroller interview was a hit piece. And we have the outsider here. The interview Craig did became a hit piece because DSP, you were held accountable and couldn't prove any evidence. At the time of the interview, DSP thought it was great. Now it's toxified because DSP didn't like the fallout. And then DSP went on to brag about being with Kino Casino, and he said he is now successful because of him appearing on Kino Casino. And Otter puts this out. Let's see how well that plays over the next few months, Phil. And then we have this from Poems Josh. They didn't defame you, Phil. You lied, it's true. So the night before, he admitted the whole thing about WWE Champions, which means he lied on side scrollers. And Craig is going to confront him about this very topic right here.
You told me.
Like, what do you want, dude? Like, I'm sorry that I didn't check my email for 23 hours. That's not how people communicate in 2023. And I know that's how you communicated, but like, I didn't check my email for 23 hours, and I'm sorry that I didn't check my email for 23 hours. I apologize for that. Will you apologize for lying?
I apologize for lying, but I don't want your apology that you didn't check your email. I want your apology for being completely disingenuous about everything that happened after the fact, after the interview. That's what I want.
But the thing is, Phil, I don't think we were being disingenuous. Like, I think we were being completely honest with how we felt. You know, like I said, we spent 5 hours talking to you, getting the runaround, man. And like, it was not meant to be like, this was, once again, I go back to the definitive Dark Side Phil interview, and it wasn't. So I'm disappointed in that because there's things that you're telling us now you lied about. We felt it. We knew it was happening in real time. We felt like we were getting gaslit. So naturally, yes, I felt exhausted and tired, and honestly, didn't want to deal with it, which is why in that email I said, look, man, we're just disappointed. Like I said, I want what's best for you. We very much do, but you have to want to help yourself. Is lying to us on stream helping yourself? No, of course not. You deserve to get to level 2. I know you can do it. Right?
Craig, what you told me in that email you sent me on Friday, basically in other words says we don't actually care what the truth is, because I had the truth and was going to send it to you and you ignored me.
No, it's not that I ignored you. It's because I didn't check the email. And not
That's called ignoring, because you knew that was our line of communication. You asked me to send you the information. I was going to, and you chose not to check it. You actively ignored the way that I could have cleared my name. And then you went on to do a show that made you tons of money defaming me on the internet. That's exactly what happened.
And supposedly that was DSP's biggest gotcha moment, is that Craig did not check his email. And Craig went on to respond and say, you know, I got a show, I got family, I'm busy. I can't be sitting around checking emails, I got stuff to do. Basically calling Phil a loser with no life. Then we have this one here. Starting to see the person Phil is yet.
I was on your show and answered hard-hitting questions. You didn't have to believe the answers.
Hold on. Did you answer? Because you
I did. Oh, indeed I answered. You just didn't like the answers.
Phil, don't flip that on me, because you didn't. You were dishonest with us, and we smelt that.
It's still an answer. It doesn't matter if it's honesty or not. It's still an answer.
Then let me ask you this, Phil. Will you apologize for lying to us? Because that's where a lot of that came from. Is like, we knew you were lying, right?
Okay.
And I gave you an opportunity multiple times. I remember pleading with you, Phil, just come clean on this, and the opportunity was there. And had you just come clean at that instance, everybody would move past this. So I do think that, like, once again, why were we upset, Phil? What's the root of all this? We felt and we knew and we smelt a lie. We smelt it, right? So, and you admitted yesterday to lying to us. So that to me stings, because you're not only lying to me, you're lying to your audience, you're lying to my audience, and you're lying to everybody else. So you should apologize to me and Adam and Travis and Blabs and everybody else who watched that show, because they were expecting the definitive DSP interview, and what they got was lies.
But the best moment came when Craig had enough of DSP. It's definitely not the Keemstar interview. He's not going to bend the knee to Phil. As much as I don't agree with everything Side Scrollers does and says, and Craig got a huge W here, just for saying this one sentence.
To a charity a year and a half later is going to somehow make you look good or something? Like, what are you
No,
talking
not at
about?
all. No. I hope that I could care less. What I care about is helping you move on, because you clearly are clinging on to this, right? And like I said, I'm sorry that this happened, right? But I'm not sorry for the words that you said, right? Once again, if somebody feels a certain way about you, it's based off your actions, right? I'm live 2 hours a day, 5 days a week. People see me, they know me by now, right? I've been doing this for almost 20 years. So people have a pretty good idea of me and my character. And for you to attack my character, I mean this with all due respect, Phil. Go fuck yourself, because you don't know. I've gone out of my way, Phil, to treat you with respect via email the entire time. I've gone out of my way to treat you with respect and be courteous to you continuously. And I'm sorry that you're upset that I didn't check my email for 23 hours. I'm sorry for that. And I'm sorry that I was pissed that you were talking shit about me, right? But I hope we can move past this.
Then we have a quote here from Darcy the Flow. Craig, I don't know if you know this or not, but people like me now. And he goes on to add, Darcy the Flow, you shouldn't ever have to say this to another man, ever. He also went on to tell Craig that he's coping really bad. Then we have some more videos here. I guess this is why Phil did want Craig to be able to question him before taking it back.
No one who watched the interview gave me that shot, because you literally after the interview said, he's a bold-faced piece of shit liar. Let's laugh at him with his detractors. Ha 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 ha. Ack, 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 ack. Okay? So your interview originally was meant to be fair and balanced, and it became a hit piece because of what you did after. And I don't think you've ever really consciously known that, but it is. It's a giant hit piece against me, and it always will be.
Phil, you did it to yourself, man. You had an opportunity with all this. If it's a hit piece, it's your words. Your words.
I was going to send you everything you asked for.
You had a chance to talk.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
All right. You said with your own words, you thought it was a very fair interview, right?
Yes.
If people look back on that interview, right, and they are upset about the interview, it's because of the response that you gave. Nobody's going back and watching the monetize the hate stream, or no one's going back and watching the decompression stream. What they're watching is the DSP interview. And if they're upset about something that happened, or if they have if they think a certain way about you or me or Adam because of that stream, it's based off of the conversation that we had then, and not based around anything that happened afterwards, right? That's the main point of contact that people are watching. So look, you can try to put the noose around my neck all you want, right? And that's fine. Go ahead. If that's what makes you feel better, that's fine. But ultimately, Phil, it's your words. It was your lies that you told that led to the ultimate distrust with this stuff, Phil. And look, I'm sorry, man. Like, I hope that you can move past this. I hope that we have an opportunity to work together again in the future. I do. I genuinely do. Because I do think at your core, I do think that you are a good guy who just wants to play games and make positive content, right? I think that's extremely admirable. But you can't be upset when we talk about something and somebody super chats about it, right? I'm sorry that happened. And I'm sorry that your detractors gave us money, right? But you know what? It's going to happen again. It happened today. Somebody super chatted $2, saying, hey, did you hear about this? Should I give that $1.40 back? Right? Like, I don't know how to handle that, Phil. And I'm not going to apologize for people who gave us money because they felt we either did a good job or we felt like we missed something, or did you hear about this? I'm not going to apologize for that. I told you I will gladly give that money to a charity, right? And I'll give it to a charity in your name, right?
Great.
But if you don't want that, that's fine, and that's totally okay.
I'm speechless. You actually think that giving that money to a charity a year and a half later is going to somehow make you look good or something? Like, what are you talking about?
No.
Then remember we were talking about how Phil said he didn't have his iPhone at the time of Side Scroller's interview. We have that being said here. The phone in Philip's hand was released in 2024. The interview took place in 2023. How did Philip have a phone that wasn't even released yet?
To show me that you have this could be a second account, right? Especially because, keep in mind, at this time, I don't have the iPhone anymore. I have a different phone and everything.
Then DSP went on to say to Craig, karma is biting you in the ass, Craig. Then DSP brought up how his detractors came to him with dirt on Craig that could change everything, but he refused to do it. It's almost like he's trying to intimidate him, you know, those mob tactics. It'd be a real shame if all this came out about you, Craig, if you're not nice to me. Then, in the biggest bitch move of all time from DSP, he rage quits the interview, then tells Craig to go F himself after he's already disconnected.
But it's possible that I could be on your show.
Sure.
Okay, I'm not interested. Go fuck yourself. Okay. All right, guys. So that is the appearance.
Mr. Ludacris, Craig tells Phil to go F himself to his face. DSP tells Craig to go F himself and runs away. What a pussy. And we have Darcy the Flow talking about the after streams. In the Battle of Decompression streams, Craig made around $1,200, and Phil made $229. I wonder if Phil will be mad. And then we have Adam Kringler. DSP didn't want to bring me on to apologize. Then not only did Phil get roasted by Craig on his stream, it appears even the detractors had higher view counts than DSP. So we have DSPGAMING 1.5k watching. Then we have WPIG 1651 2.5k watching. And it was funny too because during his reaction to June the King's doc, they were also restreaming him, but they were debunking him as he was trying to debunk the doc. It was hilarious. And they also had higher view counts than him. Now, of course, these are comments from his video explaining how he exposed Craig on the interview. Did you miss the part where he told me to go F myself? The entire convo was civil up to that point. He's the one that took off his mask, not me. He told me to go F myself first. Did you miss that part? Then Stuttering Craig put a joke tweet out. Hold on, need to check my email. Okay, so let's hear the final word from Stuttering Craig on this DSP interview.
I will say this. That was probably the most amazing thing about it was, and this has been a reoccurring thing with Phil, is his inability to look internally for this whole thing. He doesn't understand like how his inaction in terms of lying led to everything else, right? We knew he was lying. My mind is blown that he admitted to this the day before we spoke. And to be very clear, I very much went on to that. Was I fairly skeptical of him? Yes, because I had heard people saying like, oh, you know, he's going to bring on other people and he's looking to, you know, whatever, trash you. Okay, that's fine, right? But why would he lie? Why would he be so open about that literally the day before?
And that is a good point from Craig. Imagine if the night before, he never revealed he was down from the rafters. This interview could have went so differently. But of course, the biggest detractor to DSP Space Gaming is DSP Space Gaming. Then we have a former DSP Paypig, DJ Runo, who sends a super chat. Phil could name you a charity to donate since he sees himself as a charity case and probably the only one who knows. Source, DSP. Of course, what he's talking about with this is DSP went on about the monetize the hater streams, and Craig said, okay, if it affects you that much, I'll take all the money I made from those streams, give it to charity. And DSP responded, this is not about charity. Well, you saw the clip. And then the very final thing that Craig has to say. And with that, we officially close the DSP chapter of Side Scrollers. I appreciate you reading, but the story is over. I wish him success in getting to level 2. Oh, but DSP was not done yet, as he would respond to more comments on his videos, where he says Craig has systematically harassed him for 1.5 years, despite DSP being the only one talking about Side Scrollers, and Side Scrollers not talking about DSP. Now this is interesting. So Piff is one of the mega whales. It's probably OIC under a sock, but it'd be interesting that he says this. I can't believe Craig called me a liar when I lied to him. Then DSP makes the video clip and puts this out. Today's Stuttering Craig appearance did not go as I thought it would, and it certainly wasn't my doing. Check it out in its entirety, plus my decompression with viewers after, and as a bonus, I unboxed and tested the Xbox Elite 2 controller live. Enjoy. And then we have In an Otter Place. Loving that Phil's regulars think he felted Craig and are annoyed that detractors are giving Craig money while they give DSP money after he has lied to them for years. And then DSP went on to say that the interview really went bad for Craig today. And then during his decompression stream, he admitted the whole point of the interview was to get a confession and apology out of stuttering Craig. And we have Outsider. DSP had never had any intention of apologizing or meeting halfway like Craig tried to do. He completely latched onto the moment where Craig told him to F himself. And then in his chat yet again, I just got the clip. In the span of 2 minutes, Craig offers to donate to charity, tells me to F myself, then says he's gonna super chat me, lol. Holy shit, I didn't remember it went down like that. Then we have King Bill Purnell. DSP already changed in history. Craig lost it during my interview. No sir, he was very composed. You lost it like a little bitch, then hung up on him. Then DSP in chat again. Yeah, I really tried today. I swear I did. I couldn't make the man have a moral compass or fess up to what he did to hurt me over and over. Instead, it was deflections and now read an email, lol. Then, when he gets exposed, he removes the mask and tells me to go F myself. That was an unexpected turn, for sure. Then, he pinned this message on the video. Important note, after the interview ended, Craig went on his own stream for multiple hours, accepting contribution from my detractors, insulted me and even made the thumbnail preview of his stream my incident face. This interview completely exposed him as he went mask off after being called out for his actions towards me over the last 1.5 years. And his actions directly after completely contradicted what he said in his conversation. And then we get to his reaction to June the King documentary, the final part, and he talks about the bank leaks. Are you ready for this excuse, guys? You ready for this? DSP said his bank was hacked by someone else the same day the bank leaks dropped. But the bank leaks were fake. He is terrible at lying. Holy fuck. And then that being said goes over the bank leaks and sees all the contradictions, proving that it actually is Phil, including someone being streamer being paid by YouTube, driving a Toyota, purchases in his city, lining up his days off and his spending, including his Burger King. And we have Otter who adds on to this. Also ignore that that person has things in common with DSP. Wales in WWE Champion has the same SSN, is a YouTube streamer, banks at the same bank, has the same car, lives in the same community in Renton, has a condo in Connecticut, shops the same day in the same places. Then people said, why didn't you just send a screenshot on the day during the interview? And DSP said he couldn't take a screenshot and send it to Craig because you can't screenshot it and block out the information on the fly. DSP then went on to say he doesn't know what a business write-off is for expenses. He writes everything down, he pays a month and gives it to his tax guy. And then remember that video of Jasper and WWE Champions? And he kept denying it and denying it and denying it. It was a conspiracy by mouth-drooling idiots. And then anyone who mentioned it, ban, gone forever. Well, apparently, DSP admitted that it was WWE Champions on his phone in the Jasper video. He said he told people the next day it was WWE Champions, but I remember you denied it and banned people. Then he went on to defend his slave trade joke with the kid by saying it's a huge thing and it happens in Washington and it's a real thing. Then DSP went on to say he doesn't think you can write off your mortgage as business expenses. He doesn't think you can do it, which means he probably does, because remember before, he said he writes down all his expenses on a sheet of paper, sends it to his tax guy, so he probably put the entire mortgage on there and he's been writing it off for years. And then at the end he said that he wants a documentary that's more positive about him. Then he puts this tweet out. I would also like to publicly apologize for all the drama lately. Next week we get back to what it is you like the most from me, gaming and chill streams. Now that the doc is done with, I'm leaving all that negativity behind me and it's time for a positive future. Then he announced June the King as his next interview on DSP, Level 1. He puts this out. Oh no, me and June the King on Level 1 podcast, Friday the 13th. I hate that word so much after hearing Phil say it so much. Shower this post with fan art to be used for this epic event. The King commands it, lol. Then he put this picture of Jason Voorhees. Big news all, you can't make this up. My next guest on the Level 1 podcast is June the King himself, and this will take place on Friday the 13th. And of course, someone had to do it. It's the Soy Jack, Phil and Kat. But not to be outdone, Snort Hogan takes it to a next level and replaces Kat's head with PPP's head. And that's where we're at right now. If you guys like that, click that like, share the video, leave a comment below, hit subscribe my other channels on the details of the end cards. And as always, I love each and every one of you. Hope you're all safe, healthy, and happy. Peace and love.